of the spiritual story, the parable, the revelation, all of these wonderful things, the idea that can, give you hope, all of that, and of course on the other side, the despair. And the very same thing. I mean, this is the thing to understand about the voice. This today is called the Word. Think about the 56. And the 56 says, I discovered something. Just that. I have discovered something. Now the way in which that is heard by the other, and the way in which they're going to deal with it, respond to it, react to it, whatever the case may be, is not in the words of, I have discovered something today. Their connection to that expression is the quality of the voice. If it is that excited, hopeful, I have found something today, eureka, everybody's jumping around and I want to hear it. What have you discovered, And on the other side, I found something today. And everybody gets real nervous and quite uncomfortable and not sure if they even want to hear it. It doesn't even matter that when you finally tell them what it is the quality of the voice that's going to be interpreted. See, we think it's the words. There's so many people that can teach human design in this era. And we all teach the same thing. But we all have a different verbal quality. It's just the way that it is. And that verbal quality has a specific kind of impact. And obviously verbal qualities, which is a whole study in itself, becomes deeply complex. When you begin to deal with very complex throats in terms of activation, whether they're defined or not. The complexity of what kind of quality, what kind of voice is really there. The richness, if you will, of the potential of that particular quality of voice. But I want you to begin to understand that when we are communicating with each other, and all of this is about understanding communication, that when we're communicating with each other, that what is really being read as the frame is the quality of the voice, not the words. The words are secondary. It's the quality. Are you ready to listen to an unreasonable opinion? Do you know what I mean? Are you ready to listen to someone's insisting, I know? Because it carries a quality that changes the very value of the words, even if the words are always the same. How many actors have played Hamlet? The words are always the same, but every Hamlet is different. And it's different because of the quality that is there in the expression. It's a wonderful thing to begin to grasp. It explains so much about the dilemmas in the way in which we communicate. Because remember that our communication in terms of the not-self is in order to get information for your mind to make decisions. And of course, there, you end up in a horrendous trap. And the things that you are attuned to as not self, you're somebody with an open ego, and it feels like there's been a thumb placed on you all your life. You're more likely to listen to somebody's despair than to their hope. Be more tuned into the despair frequency. Think about the songs that we enjoy. So much of the the lyrical value of music is sort of, well, yeah, it's kind of banal. But it doesn't interfere with a great pop song. And I mean, it's not simply about the musicality of it. You know, it is the quality of the voice. It's always that. It's what the voice carries, because this is the magic that's in the voice. You know, the fact that we can code it mechanically and see what the voice, you know, is expressing as a generic, you know, the I think simply being a logical expression. You know, it's only when you grasp the quality that you begin to get what's going on. Okay, let's move along here. We don't have forever today. Let's take a look at the splenic side. We take a look at the splenic side and we get the 16th gate. The 16th gate says, I experiment. And of course, it should ring a human design bell in that sense, you know. This being the great logical experiment to follow your strategy in human design. This is the I experiment with the pattern, or I don't experiment with the pattern. And you can see that the voice quality is something that speaks to the importance of the logical process in our lives. But it is also a voice that can be deeply uncomfortable. The voice of disapproval is deeply uncomfortable. The voice of approval, this is something that is very, very soothing to so many human beings. And of course, you know, when you understand this gate as a skill gate, you know, that its ability to be able to express the talent, the skill that's inherent in it, you know, is all about, you know, this voice and this voice carrying with it, you know, this power to challenge. You know, the parallel to the human experiential stream is the movement from the 58 to the 16. And this movement from the 58 to the 16 is all about challenging patterns until they are absolutely efficient. And of course what that means is that this is the voice of collective approval or collective disapproval. You know, when this person says, I don't like that group, you know, if they say it with that deep disapproval in their voice, boy, is that ever powerful. The critics. You know, you can see that logical beings can be unreasonable in their disapproval, as an example. I mean, we have 3 logical voices in the throat. You know, and those logical voices, if we go to the 3rd logical voice, we have the 31. The voice of I lead or I don't lead, the channel of the alpha, the voice of authority, or the voice of powerlessness. You want to follow a leader that has a powerless voice? We see them, these people who dream of being leaders and nobody votes for them and they're gone within a few moments of declaring their candidacy because they don't have the quality. You know, when we think about a leader, we want to hear that authority in their voice. We want to know that they're in charge. And then when you begin to look at the complexity of the logical voice, you know, this logical voice that can be the reasonable, approving authority, you know, or this unreasonable, indecisive powerlessness, or any combination thereof. And then you begin to understand the way in which logic is expressed. You know, some people have none of these. Some people have one. For example, I have 2. Well, I have, pardon me, here. In this case, I have 1. I just have the 62. You know, so I'm not a approval-disapproval person. You know, and I don't have that authority, powerlessness business for the throat. By the way, I have